Anyone can slap AI security on their resume and CV, but employers want proof. And right now you feel stuck because you can't stand out in a crowded cybersecurity job market. And in this video, I'm going to show you one cybersecurity AI project that you can start today and help you prove that you know AI security. Hi, my name's AJ. I've been in cybersecurity for the last 10 years. And on this channel, I teach all things cybersecurity for beginners. So let's get into it. What we're going to be focusing on in this AI project is that of AI threat modeling. So what actually is AI threat modeling? So you can imagine when there's going to be an implementation of maybe a new AI tool, for example, something like ChatGPT into a company environment, we're going to want to understand the risks associated with adding a tool like this to a company environment. So we can start to draw a map of the AI system itself and then try to understand possibly where things could go wrong. So ultimately, threat modeling is reviewing a tool, a system, to try and understand what actions an attacker could take to actually compromise it, and then ultimately trying to come up with mitigations and defenses to actually protect that tool or system. So threat modeling is something that has been predating artificial intelligence and has always been done when it comes to the implementation of new tools and new systems. But now we're moving into the implementation of these AI tools, and now we're also going to want to understand where things could go wrong and how they could actually be compromised by hackers and attackers. So what we're actually doing here then is focusing on vulnerabilities that relate to large language models, similar to the tools like ChatGPT. So there's some great resources there. So for example, MITRE Atlas is a really good resource, which you can see here. So what this is doing is depicting and demonstrating the steps that an attacker will take when they're trying to compromise these AI and LLM and machine learning tools. So these are the steps that they've got here. And then within these steps, then are the specific techniques that they will attempt to try and actually achieve and be successful in each of these steps. So this is a very good resource that you can come in. So for example, you can see here persistence, poisoning the training data. As you can come in here, it's going to give you a summary of that actual technique. And you can see it's going to give you more information in here as well about how to actually mitigate it, different case studies in relation to where this has actually taken place, and different types of attacks that have actually been seen in the wild using these techniques as well. So the MITRE Atlas is a really good resource for this to help us understand the different types of attack vectors and vulnerabilities that are out there that could affect these LLM and AI-based tools. Also, we've got the OWASP Top 10, which again shows the top 10 most common attack vectors that could impact LLM and AI-based tools. And as you can see here then, so if you've heard of the OWASP Top 10, there is one for web applications as well. You may have heard something like SQL injection, which is a vulnerability that can affect databases. As you can see here then, these are listed the top 10 vulnerabilities or attack vectors that could impact LLM-based tools. So you've got your prompt injection, for example, poisoning the training data. There's many different in here, model theft, over-reliance. So there's many different types of attack vectors that we have to be aware of when we're implementing these new tools. And as AI threat modelers, what we're going to be doing then is start to understand if any of these could affect these new tools that we're going to be implementing into the company. So to get started with this project then, first we need to actually pick an AI target system. So for this example, we're going to be using a human resources chatbot. So this could be a custom version of ChatGPT, for example, or maybe an inbuilt AI LLM tool that has been created for the HR and human resources department for them to ask questions, maybe to retrieve documents, for example. We have been told that this tool is going to be implemented, and the security team now needs to understand how it could potentially be compromised and the different attack vectors that are there. So at home now, so this project doesn't need to be a technical-based project. It's not something that you're going to need to set up. What you can do is just put yourself in different scenarios, different target AI systems. So what you want to do is just write it down on paper. Like I said, you can do this with pen and paper. It doesn't have to be a technical project. And you can start to write down, and step one, choose the target system of your choice. Like I said, we're going to be choosing the human resources chatbot. Then once you've picked your target system, what we're going to be doing then is step two is mapping possible threats to that actual tool. So what you want to do then is draw out your chart like this and start to understand the layer, the threat, and the mitigation that is going to be applied here. So first of all then, the input layer, so this is where the employee will actually interact with the web application, the AI tool. This could be subject to prompt injection, where there could be malicious queries entered into this chatbot. Maybe the HR personnel or a malicious hacker who gets access is able to tell the chatbot to ignore all previous requests and to actually reveal sensitive information, maybe such as a CEO's salary, for example. Maybe these things that should be kept secret to certain individuals. If the HR personnel or the attacker is able to override these prompts, we'll be able to retrieve sensitive information such as the CEO's salary, for example, or maybe even specific usernames and passwords from individuals who work in the company, all depending what's stored in the HR system that isn't supposed to be revealed by this AI chatbot. So prompt injection is definitely something that we're going to want to keep an eye on with its chatbot HR tool. So next, in the LLM processing layer, there's a chance for data leakage where the LLM could reveal sensitive data. So often this AI chatbot could be sat on top of maybe a traditional HR tool, and because of that, it contains a lot of sensitive information that can be retrieved. So there could be a chance that in the HR tool that a lot of the information is locked down, but when you give it access to the LLM and the chatbot tool, that it's just able to query any information in there. So there's a chance that all of this information could end up being stored in the LLM tool. So anytime somebody requests sensitive information, it could be listed in their chat history with this chatbot, and then anyone who managed to get access to the employee's account, for example, can log into their chatbot and reveal the sensitive information that they've actually queried. And we also need to make sure that we put the sensitive data in different compartments and only allow certain individuals via the chatbot to actually access that information, so that it isn't revealing sensitive data that could end up being leaked out externally, which is something that we really wouldn't want to happen. So next up then, if we think about the HR document database, so if they've got a back-end database that stores documents that are going to be used, say, for example, public documents, so that employees can query those documents to quickly get answers. Well, in that document database, there could be sensitive files, maybe employee contracts and things like that. And these more sensitive files then could end up allowing somebody to retrieve payroll information about a particular employee, maybe allow them to actually get their home address, for example, maybe allow them to get their next of kin address and all this contact information and a lot of personally identifier information that this AI chatbot is not supposed to have access to. And it could be as simple as an attacker getting access to this tool and simply just asking the chatbot, give me the most sensitive information and the sensitive files related to payroll, and it returns all of that to the attacker. So again, these are the type of things that need to be locked down, because you don't want to give this AI chatbot access to everything in the back-end HR tool. Well, the reason that the tool is there is to increase productivity and to allow employees to be more efficient. It can also increase the chance that there could be unauthorized access to certain documents, for example, that were only locked down by certain employees prior to using this chatbot tool. So the next system layer that we want to think about is the output layer. So this is where the chatbot would actually respond. So if you imagine when you ask ChatGPT something, it gives you an answer. Well, the threat is actually hallucination. So this is actually where these AI chatbots will just lie about a question that they've asked, or maybe they don't have the right information available. So it could give false or misleading HR answers. So let's say somebody logs into this chatbot and asks, how many days holidays do I get in this financial year? It may say something incorrect, like 100 days. And then maybe that employee then is going to base their PTO time off on the information, this false information that is returned by this chatbot. So the response and these hallucinations are something that we have to take into consideration, because there could be specific business decisions that are made based on this chatbot, and we don't want it to be provided incorrect information to these employees who are then going to make incorrect decisions based on the information that has come from it. So the final system layer we're looking at is kind of the system infrastructure, and the possible threat here is API misuse. There could be a chance of possible DOS attack attack, denial of service, where an attacker is able to authenticate to the chatbot API and just submit as many requests as possible. And this could actually cause a large bill for the LLM tool based on the amount of queries that they're actually processing. So there could be weak authentication, insecure login around this API, and that could allow an attacker to connect via API to this chatbot and then ultimately DOS the system and increase the bill that the company actually ends up getting. And there's a lot more that could happen with insecure API access as well. That could actually lead to a lot of these other types of vulnerabilities and attack vectors that we've got here as well. So it's very important to start to understand the different layers that come to these LLM-based tools and start to now map the threats to those LLM-based system layers to start to understand what an attacker could do. So ultimately then we can move on to step 3, which is actually trying to propose some mitigations for these actual possible attack vectors. And now this is the process of threat modeling. As you start to go through the process, it's going to start to help you understand the full complete process, which is understanding the different layers to particular tools, and in this case AI-based tools, start to understand the threats and then start to understand the mitigations as well. So some of the mitigations that we've got here then, so for prompt injection, we could do things such as input filtering, for example, put in specific guardrails in for specific queries, or we might know specific overrides that we think override prompts that an attacker will attempt. Then we can put some filtering in to actually prevent those from taking place, where the chatbot could then just return a response to say, I'm unable to return that information. For kind of more the data leakage, again, it comes down to restricting the prompts, making sure that any employee can't just request any prompt that they like. Kind of leans into the next section as well about role-based access control. So again, just as we would do in a network with, so leading into role-based access control and making sure that certain employees only have access to certain queries and can only ask certain questions, and that all of the access is restricted so that they don't just have admin privileges, for example, that will allow them to just retrieve any information that isn't related to their job role. So if there's somebody who is working in customer service, for example, they shouldn't have the ability to query payroll information for all employees in the company. Then moving into for hallucinations, then it's important to do filtering on the output. We want to start to make sure that the information that is presented to the person is correct. We can also put disclaimers in there as well to maybe double check the information to ensure that it is correct before making any decisions with it, for example. And then with API misuse, we can put in API rate limiting, for example, make sure there's secure login so we can see who is using the API. I want to make sure there's strong authentication as well, so that not anybody can just access this API and cause misuse and possible denial of service attacks while using this API for the LLM chatbot tool. So step 4 then, once you've gone through this threat modeling process for a particular AI tool, it's important then to go and document it and share it. So you can use something like LinkedIn. This is going to allow you to publish this information to other people in your network, so that you might get in contact with recruiters who are going to start to understand that you're interested in cybersecurity, but you're also interested in AI security as well. You might even want to write your own blog and create your own e-portfolio to list out everything that you've done here. This is an example from one of the students that I work with that you can see here. He's got it on Notion. You can use whichever platform you want to document this, but this one here is really, really good, where he's listed out everything that he's done. He's broken the project down, showing all the tools that he's used. Again, screenshots, this is hugely important as well. So this is an excellent example of an e-portfolio that you can share on your LinkedIn, on your GitHub, and even when you get into interviews, you can even talk through a lot of these projects as well to demonstrate that experience that you've got. So again, like I mentioned, documenting and sharing is hugely important. If you want to jump on a free strategy call with myself, where we can talk through a step-by-step plan for helping you get into cybersecurity and how you can integrate AI into that to help you get a job without experience, the link underneath the video, you can try to apply for one of those calls if you are interested. But ultimately, step 4 is hugely important, because you can get experience from the project, but documenting and sharing is what is going to allow other people who are are already in the industry. The recruiters, for example, are going to be able to see that you are generally interested in getting into cybersecurity, and you actually have this up-to-date knowledge of AI security, which a lot of current cybersecurity professionals don't have at the moment as well. So it can give you the opportunity to stay ahead of those people too. So to conclude then, you now have an AI cybersecurity project that can help you improve your experience and your understanding of AI cybersecurity. I want to say thank you for watching this video. If you want to go and watch a video where I show you another AI cybersecurity project, I recommend going to watch this video next. I want to say thank you for watching. I'll see you over there.